Amy.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, lovely
Kevin.
to meet you.
Yeah, many emails exchanged with this group here, as well as with Leonard over the years. So, Coach was really kind to be able to say that I'm a good clinician. I don't know that I am, but I'm a hell of a sharer. I love sharing the experiences that I've had an opportunity to have in my lifetime, not just as a coach, and not just working with the Kevin Garnett's, the Paul Pierces, the Chris Pauls, the Kobe Bryants, LeBrons, James Hardens, all those guys. That was fun, but the lessons I learned because of being able to work with the best of the best is what I want to throw at you today. And I'm going to throw a lot of stuff out there. And everything that I throw at you, all those names that I just named, this is what they want out of their coaches. Because everybody wants to coach like the NBA players and coach the best of the best, but they put tremendous demands on you. They really do. If you don't know your stuff, they could shut you out for 2 months. So what I hope today is, well, first off, I hope that I'm a better speaker than my wife gives me credit for. Like, she just texted me when I walked in the door, and she knows I'm giving a big speech over in Australia, and Australia is one of my bucket list places that I wanted to visit. So I was able to accomplish that. So I walk in and I had a lot of confidence. As a speaker, it's just like being a coach. Preparation and confidence are key to having a good day, to having a good game. So I had tremendous confidence until just about 2 minutes ago when I heard the dreaded bing from my wife. It was her text. And she said, "Kev, you're going to do great today. Just be yourself. Don't try and be witty, funny, or intelligent." I mean, are you kidding me? Ooh, I'm from New Jersey, so there may be some words pop out that shouldn't pop out, especially when I get going, because I get excited, because I love coaching. I don't like it, I love it. It's the best profession in the world, whether you are in it full-time or you are in it part-time. And here's probably one of the main reasons it is. It came from your local paper. I love reading. So as soon as I walked into the hotel today, I looked around to see where the local papers were. And this is kind of how I read. If I like something, I highlight it, and then I categorize what that highlight is. Then when I go home, I either put it in my notebooks or I put it in my files. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But it was talking about a coach in the area who was kind of working with the youth. And the coach said, "In my life, I've had a lot of coaches that really helped me at a young age, steered me in the right direction, and pulled me up when I wasn't doing the right things." You see, that's what coaching is, and especially with the kids you're working with. And if you want to know how important and impactful coaching is, go back and YouTube any of the people who have got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Every one of them mentions a coach in their acceptance speech. That's how powerful what you guys and girls do with your coaching gig that you have. So I'm going to just kind of throw those down there as I go. So, well, first off, just tell me when I got about 10 minutes left, because I'll talk till midnight or until my notes go. I think I have about 150 bullet points that I want to throw at you today. We won't get through them all, so don't worry about it. All right? When Coach introduced me, right now I'm living in kind of two worlds. I'm still living in the coaching world because I'm speaking to a lot of the better college basketball programs over in our country and talking to their teams and kind of telling them why the best are the best, as coaches or as players or as teams. And then the other world I live in is the corporate speaking world, where I speak to companies, mostly in the United States. There's one or two that have contacted me outside the United States that I'll do in the future here. But for the most part, I've been speaking, all right? And the reason I throw that at you is I'm glad that introduction was as short as it was, because sometimes they go into like 50 minutes of introduction, and you're like, shit, is that me they're talking about? All right? Because what they do, and I don't know if you've ever talked or spoken in front of crowds, but to be introduced is really fun. Like, it's a blast, right? When they tell you guys about my background and all that. But when I say that, a lot of people think it's because of ego that I like that. And it's not because of ego at all. It's got nothing to do with ego. It's got everything to do with education. Because every time I'm introduced, they tell me where I've been. They tell you guys where I've been and what I've done. Where I've been and what I've done. All those pro players I just mentioned to you, all the great coaches in our league, all of the best teams, all of you who are successful in your lives, it's not about where we've been and what we've done. It's about where we're capable of going and what we're capable of becoming. That's why we're in coaching. We want to help our players become the best that they're capable of becoming. And I'm going to go over that, exactly how we do that. And if I get to some of the plays and all that sort of stuff and some drills, great. But you're going to get a lot of X and O. You can get a lot of X and O on YouTubes now. So I'm going to give you the behind the scenes of how we talk to our players, what we say to them, how we motivate them, what's important for us, both at the NBA and the college level. But I have a lot of bullets, so in a corporate talk, I don't use notes at all. I just go. Well, because I have all these bullet points, I want to make sure you get them all. And I want to make sure I stay in order. So I'm going to use my notes a little bit. All right? First off, for you guys and for us, I think they call it the off season. We have brainwashed our guys with the Boston Celtics, from the Kevin Garnett's, Paul Pierce's, Ray Allen's, Rajon Rondo's, all those guys up to the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordans of the Clippers. We have brainwashed them. This is not the off season. This is the on season. It's the on season. It's how many times you get on the court. It's how many shots you get up when you're on the court, right? It's how many times you can turn yourself on and learn new things. It's the on season, not the off season. You see, all of us are in here today because all of us who want to be anything in life, we're on a seek and find mission. So are players. They want to seek and find new ways to do things. Seek and find new ways to do drills, right? There were some great drills. By the way, some of those drills that Coach did, we did them probably 2 out of every 4 days in the NBA. Because penetration and kick is critical. And it's easy to tell a guy what penetrate and kick is, but they just got to get more and more reps at it, right? So I think sometimes when I go to clinics, they see a drill like that, and they think, oh, that's grade school. Yeah, it could be grade school. I just know it's also NBA. So usually what's important at the grade school level is also important to us at the NBA level. So we're all on a seek and find mission, but then what do we do with that? You see, we all take notes. So we have sought, and maybe you saw it, and now I'm here, so you found me. Now what do you do with the notes? Right? The best coaches in the world, and especially in the United States and the NBA, they go on that seek and find mission, but they do something that separates them. After they seek and after they found, then they think, and then they apply. Because you may be stuck on one way to defend the pick and roll, and in your way, it's the only way to do it. It's the best way. No one else can talk you out of it. Until you go up against the San Antonio Spurs, the Golden State Warriors, and they kick the living crap out of you by doing it your way. You see, you got to know more than even you're doing. Right? So that's why these clinics are so good. Because you may not do it this year, and you may not put that drill in this year. But with next year's team or the team after that, that may be the best drill you could put in. So you got to keep on improving your knowledge bank, right? Coach was talking about passing and decision-making so much, so I wrote something down that we talk to our guys about all the time. You may want to do it with your teams. Offensively, passing is the ultimate form of trust. Offensively, passing is the ultimate form of trust. I'm coming in here, and I decide to make a pass. I'm trusting that the guy I pass to can do something with it. Either he's open for the shot, or he can make one more pass. Coach called it the extra pass. All right? Now, even though we're not talking about it tonight, but defensively, here's what we believe is the ultimate form of trust. When you're on defense, the ultimate form of trust is never having to turn around. I'm I'm going to say that again. I'm guarding the ball right here. The ultimate form of trust. The defensive teams that trust each other the most, they never have to turn their heads, ever. You may say, well, pick and roll's coming. I don't need to turn my head because the command that the big man gives me will tell me all I need to know. I need someone's voice more than I need my eyes. All right? So, if I'm having to turn around all the time, because you know in the NBA, if there's a pick and roll coming, and even in college basketball, if I turn my head to see it coming, Chris Paul and Steph Curry are already at the rim. Because we teach them to read the heads of the guy who's guarding them. So let's say I'm just standing right up here. There's me as an offensive player. And here's the guy guarding me. We tell our guys from up there, we say, watch your man, don't watch the ball. The ball will find you if it's supposed to find you. And as soon as you see the back of his head, cut. If you see the front of his head, stay put, because he's locked in on you and not seeing the ball. All right? So, very, very important. I thought the other thing that was interesting with Coach, he showed you the drill, he let the guys go through it, and then he said to you guys, hey, what happened? And he was able to tell you, 5 jump shots, 3 turnovers. You see, the best coaches can do that. And I'll get into this a little bit later, but the best point guards in the world, they can do that too. Like, I didn't know this till Kobe taught me this. Kobe would log the game. He would log the game. All right, when I catch at the elbow and our cutter cuts off of me, I know, I log what they're doing. And I may not take advantage of it. This is Kobe now. I may not take advantage of it the first possession, the 10th possession, but in the fourth quarter when it's winning time, I will have known what they do, right? Like we always get on our players because a big coaching thing is, hey, they don't understand the game. No, they don't even understand what the term understand the game is. Forget the game. So how do we do that? In college, when I had a freshman point guard, I would just tell him in pickup basketball, here's what I want you to do. Anytime I stop the action, I look at the point guard, he must tell me what happened on the last 3 possessions. Well, I threw it to my 7'2" guy for a trail 3-point shot. Oh, that's a good decision. Great. That's going to keep you in the game, right? All right. We came down here, and I tried to throw a one-handed spin backdoor pass, turned it over. All right. So I want them to know what's going on in the game. So we actually ask them, like if you ask Chris Paul, he's really good. He could probably go back even 5 or 6 possessions, what happened. Because he needs to know that. Rondo, the kid Rondo, who we had in Boston, I don't know if you know him at all. He's a different dude. But he might be able to log the last 97 possessions. He's a savant, basketball-wise. All right, so here's what I wrote about trying to get as much knowledge as you can. Number 1, you want to acquire as much knowledge as you can. Number 2, you want to adapt it. Can I use it for my system? And if you can't, you want to store it. Like the best coaches in the NBA, they do those 3 things. They do those 3 things. They acquire the knowledge. If it works for their team that year, they adopt it, and then they adapt it to their team. And then if it doesn't fit, they store it, because it may fit a team 2 years from now. It may fit this way. I come down, and I just heard 2 lectures on defense, let's say, and it was a box and 1 or a triangle and 2, some junk defense. Well, I'll never play that. I don't need to know that. Well, if you know it, then you know how to attack it. Right? That's why for us, we want to know as much as we can about all aspects of the game. So we don't ever say, no, that guy, that's not the way to do it. Because at some point, especially in our league, they're going to come back and kick your tail. All right? Here's a good book for you young coaches in the audience. It has to do with learning and growing. Pete Carroll is the coach's name. He coaches the Seattle Seahawks, the National Football League, like, the football over there, they say the real football, right? You know the one I'm talking about, right? And he had a book, and it talked about, the book's title of it is Win Forever. Win Forever. And he talks about how he came about his philosophy of the game. And he didn't come about it until he was in his late 40s. He had already been fired from 2 jobs. The New England Patriots and the New York Jets. And in it, Pete talks about that he knew, yeah, we want to do this, we want to do this, and with this part of our program, we want to do this, and we want to do this, but he couldn't put it all together. Therefore, he never was able to tell the owners that he worked for what his philosophy is, right? And what caught him was, because he was just worried about winning all the time, and what caught him was he read an article or a book on John Wooden and found out that John Wooden didn't even win a first championship till 16 years into his career. And then it kind of hit Pete, darn, if he's the best coach ever to coach basketball, and it took him that long, maybe I am doing this right, but let me try and see if I can't put it all into a nutshell, right? And that's the struggle for young coaches. All right, let's get into coaching itself. We have a term we call real coaching, R-E-A-L, and that's an acronym. And we think these 4 things are needed to be a big-time coach. And big time doesn't mean you get your name in the paper all the time. It means you're really good at what you do at your level. Okay? I often throw out these 2 words, and it's the key to life. Peace and part. Peace, P-I-E-C-E, and part. Do your part in the piece of the world that you have control of. You may not be on ESPN coaching your teams. In your normal jobs, when I speak to the corporate world, I talk about this all the time. The guy who's a manager at Apple, we may never know what he does, but in his piece of the world, he needs to do his part and do it well, right? So here's what real stands for. The R stands for relationships. Like if you ask Doc, Coach mentioned Pop, if you ask Pop, break down percentage-wise what you do as an NBA coach, I would give you Doc's answers. Doc Rivers, the head coach of he was with the Celtics, now he's with the Clippers. Doc would probably give you this. Maximum 40% is X's and O's. Maximum 40% is X's and O's. 60% is how we deal with our players. The relationships we deal with, how we deal with our players. Because getting back to Pop, all right, you know, if you've seen him coach and seen some of the wired things that he does in the YouTubes, he gets on those guys pretty hard, all right? The unwritten formula there is that the stronger the relationships, the more MFs you can throw at them. And that like doesn't mean my friend, right? Okay? So now that doesn't mean we do that all the time, but the point is this. You can coach guys hard if you have a relationship with them. So we spend an inordinate amount of time getting to know our guys. And I want to throw a lot at you, so I can't stay, like this real coaching thing I'm talking to you about takes about an hour in the corporate world because I turn it into real leadership. The E stands for example. You've heard the term, what you see is what you get. What do you want them to see? What do you want them to see? Like if I come out here with cut-off jeans and a hole right here and I'm not going to look up because maybe someone has this, a pink shirt and a green tie, you'd be like, who in the heck is this guy? You know, a little bit, you kind of have to look like a coach, all right? And that doesn't mean you have to be in as horrible a shape as I'm in. It just means that you got to have a presence about you, right? Okay? So what you see is what you get. Now let me jump back to relationships because we think this, to really be able to coach players, especially in the heat of the battle where things may get a little testy, relationships is all about 2 things. It's about mind space, M-I-N-D. How do we get into their minds? Because there's only so much mind space each of us has. How do we get in there? How do we tap into that? All right? And then the other one is heart space, H-E-A-R-T. Those are 2 big concepts in the way Doc Rivers does things. And you may think, pro basketball, you guys care about that? Yeah, because the best way to get through their mind, to their mind, is through their heart. If they think we're really in it for them, they think we really care about them, they'll let us into here. I once had a coach at a major college basketball program. He said, you know, Kevin, you deal with so many different personalities in the NBA. We got this one player. He's probably our second best player, and we can't figure out what makes him tick. And I said, Coach, with all due respect, we don't really care. At our level, we don't really care what makes him tick. We don't. We don't. That's number 3 on a list. Above that is, instead of wondering about what makes him tick, what makes him talk? Because if we can get him to talk, we'll know what makes him tick. Right? And then the other thing that's above tick is what gets him to listen. Because if we can get him to listen, we can change maybe some of the things that he's doing to get him to tick, right? That all gets back to relationships. The A is accountability. All right? Now, tonight, I'm not here to give you all the answers. I'm here to stimulate your thinking. And my wife also always tells me this after I make this next statement. I have a talk that I give to the corporate world and also to some college teams called Master Your Abilities. Master Your Abilities. And my wife always says, well, you can't do that because ability is not a word. It is in my dictionary. I've never met Mr. Webster. Like, why should I follow everything that he says in his dictionary? My word is B-I-L-I-T-I-E-S. And if your players and your coaches and your program can master the following abilities, you're going to have a shot to win. Think about this now. There's a lot of abilities in our life. Accountability, responsibility, credibility, sustainability. Can you do it game in, game out? Right? In the corporate world, when I speak, I throw profitability, right? That's ability too. I'm going to give you a couple of those. Vulnerability is one, especially as coaches. Hey, if we don't know the answer, like Coach said, sometimes you'll hear Doc, you'll even hear Pop in those YouTubes about the huddles during the games. Hey, I don't know, guys, you figure it out. You got us into this mess, Timmy, Patty, Kawhi. You got us into the mess. Why should I get you out of it? Figure it out. I don't know how to get it. It is so bad that I don't really have an answer for it. I've never seen what you guys are doing. Put it on them. Right? And I'm 100% with you on rotations of lines. Like, I don't know how to rotate to make it look smooth. I just know what a good drill is. And we do the same thing. You're in the NBA, man. Figure out how to rotate your lines. We have no clue how to rotate them. All right? They'll figure it out. And the L stands for listening. Listening. All right? We have a term. And I'll throw a bunch of terms so you kind of get how we coach. And the term goes like this. I know what he said, but what did he say? I know what he said, but what did he say? Do you remember the kid that we had in Boston? His name was Big Baby. All right, okay. A very apt nickname for both the physical presence of him and his emotional makeup. All right, because he was a big baby. He's talent now. He had some talent. He had some talent. And he really helped us win some games. But I remember him saying one time in a newspaper article, he said, they were asking him about Kevin Garnett, and they said, wow, the reporter said, wow, Kevin's really scoring a lot lately, isn't he? And Glenn said this, his real name is Glenn. And I personally don't ever like to call them their nicknames. I like to call them their real name. Because if it was important enough for mom and dad to call you that, unless it was like, you know, like a derogatory name that they actually call them, I would call them their real name. So the reporter asked Glenn, hey, so Kevin's really scoring a lot, and he's got a great rhythm, and he's playing at an all-star level. What do you think about that? He said, yeah, Kevin is. So that sounded good to start. Yeah, Kevin is. Because, you know, in our offense, he gets a lot of shots, and of course he's going to score. That's what he said. What he really said was, if I got all those shots and Doc ran plays for me, I would score that amount too. That was important for us because we had to know how he thinks throughout the course of the year. And we can make a course correction, right? So we're constantly, I'm going to throw a term out maybe at the end of it, but it just popped into my head right now. The best coaches have big eyes, big ears, and a small mouth. The best coaches in the NBA, like Doc Rivers, like I've lived my life that way. I've gone through my life with big eyes, big ears, and a small mouth. Because I already know what I know. So why do now tonight I have this platform, so I've got to talk. But I thoroughly enjoyed Coach's Talk. As a matter of fact, you could have easily taken an hour of mine and I'll just do whatever I have left over, right? Because I want to learn what other people know. So big eyes, big ears, small mouth. Look and learn. Listen and learn. And that example of Glenn Davis, we're constantly listening to what our players are saying. We're constantly, when we walk on the floor, scanning the practice floor. Okay, there's two guys who haven't played real well. Doc's got on them a little bit, and they're in the far corner, and they're whispering. Something's up. All right? Like, I'll never forget Doc Rivers. We were standing right here, and that was the door to our locker room. And all of a sudden, Paul Pierce comes out, and his big toe, 1 centimeter of his big toe was on the practice floor, and Doc turned to me and said, "Oh, he's not going to have a good practice today." I mean, I pretended like yeah, I'm with you on that. I didn't know what are you talking about? And he said, "Look at his shoulders. They're slumping in." Paul's his shoulders never like that. Look at his right eye, all bloodshot. All right? Look at him. Usually he says hello to us, didn't say a word. See, his eyes are always, always, always watching. That's what the best coaches in the NBA do. All right, 3 things you got to do when it comes to the game itself. All right? If you're a good coach, you know the game. If you're a pretty good coach, you see the game. And if you want to become an elite coach, you got to learn how to read the game. See, there's a lot of coaches who know the game. Well, yes, on step-up screens, this is how we defend it. On side pick and rolls, this is how we defend it. The best sideline out-of-bounds play is this. Best baseline, they know the game. All right? That's important. You need to know the game. Some coaches can see the game. They see the game going on, all right? And at the end of the game, they watch it on film and they can see it and they can make their corrections after the game. Well, that didn't help you. The elite coaches can read the game. They know the game, they see what's going on the floor, and they can read it. Okay, they did this, we need to do that. The in-game adjustments. The in-game adjustments. For Doc, sometimes he would turn to me on the bench and he'd say, "Hey, put down, let's even say, Patty Mills in the game, Rondo in the game. In the fourth quarter, remind me, let's post Patty Mills." Right? Because he saw something on one of the sets in the first quarter on how Patty played Rondo. But he's going to save it for the fourth quarter. Like, I have a hard time sometimes watching the ball and the defender on the ball. Doc can see all 10 at the same time. Pop can see all 10 at the same time. So for you young coaches, and this is when I was younger, I had the problem with seeing the whole floor. So the way I built my eyes up were the following. I conditioned myself to never watch the ball. I always watched the weak side of the floor. That would give me 4 or 6 players usually. So I trained myself to watch away from the ball. And then once I got those 4 to 6 players down, I kept working on, okay, the 2 guys who are involved in the play. That's easy to see. Now I can watch the game and see all 10 players every possession. Couldn't do that when I was younger. I also did this. If this was our practice court, I always stood at approximately where my seat was on the bench. And that's where I did a lot of my coaching from the sideline. Now, if you're in a drill, you're obviously out there. But when the scrimmage is going on, I wanted to train my eyes from where I actually sat. All right. You want to be a good coach? So do I. 3 gaps we have to fill. 3 gaps we have to fill. One I talked about when I said where are you capable of going and what are you capable of becoming? The first gap is the capability gap. Look, all of you in your lives and in coaching have accomplished things, all right? But if your potential and your knowledge is capable of accomplishing this much, you've got to fill that gap. Like, I'm trying to fill this gap. I've started in doing more speaking. So now I know I've done some good things, but I know I'm really capable of this. So I got to fill that gap. So we got to fill our capability gap. Your players have to fill their capability gap. They're performing at this level, but they're capable of this level. And it's incumbent upon us to figure out ways to get them to fill that gap. The second gap is your knowledge gap. I know you may think you know a lot, but trust me, if you ever got to the NBA, and I'm a prime example of it, I didn't know jack. And I know a lot about the game, and I was overwhelmed. Like, I'm telling you, good thing I heard this one lady speak about 30 years ago, and she said, it was Joan London. I don't know if you know that name. She used to be a TV something or other, all right? And she said, on her way up the ladder, she said, sometimes you got to fake it and then go learn it. So I'm in the NBA the first year, and as I told you, when you're in the NBA, I mean, they don't give you any slack. So I know when I walk into the gym with NBA players, they say, look, white hair, glasses, he probably has a button-down T-shirt, he's a preppy, right? He don't know stuff about the game, all right? So I'm thinking to myself, because Doc kept saying, hey, just be yourself. This is when the first day I was in the NBA. Because the way Doc does it is this. Hey, we're going to go some man-to-man defensive drills, okay? I want you to run one end. What are we doing? I want you to run one end. It's kind of like he would look at the mess, right, to help me become a better coach. Doc expects you to learn it. Expects you to learn it. You could be in a team meeting, and we are 17 seconds away from walking down to the practice floor, and he may turn to me and say, hey, Kevin, and we're with the Clippers now. Hey, Kevin, remember that out-of-bounds play we used to run? I think it was called 4 down, where kind of Kevin came off this little pick. Remember we ran it our first year in Boston? Put that in today. I got 14 seconds to try and go back and remember what it was. Shit, I don't know what it was, right? So I'm scrambling. So I get into the NBA, and I just kept remembering, okay, you gotta get their respect. They got to know that you know the NBA game because they know you're a college coach. So day one goes by. I had a good coaching stance. I was really good. I was down. I had my knees bent, had my palms on my knees, and then I could clap like this. And then I proved to them I was ambidextrous, so I could turn it the other way and clap with my left hand. And then I had a couple of really good terms. I don't know if you've ever done this. Way to go! I said it a couple times, right? So practice one goes by, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, I haven't proven anything to them. And I know they're walking off there like, Doc, you hired this guy? Are you kidding me? Practice two, I knew I was going to do it. Right? Same thing, it gets going, and all the other coaches were talking. And remember, I'm a rookie, and same thing, boom, boom, boom. I added a couple of these too. I actually walked onto the practice floor, tapped the guy on the butt and said, good job, and then got back over here. All right? So I got better. I got better. All right? So then the third day, I'm sweating bullets. The only people who knew how nervous I was me and the guy who does my laundry. So I'm on, okay? So I go into the practice number 3, and we have a film session beforehand. And in the film session, Tom Thibodeau, the coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's a defensive savant. He gets on Kevin Garnett, and he says, Kev, look, when we go over back screen, you got to know these. And he went through like 10 teaching points. Okay, I heard them all. I wrote down 6 of them because we didn't go over it in a meeting. Because Doc knew, Tibbs knew, Tony Brown, all these guys who've been in the NBA forever, they all knew. They just assumed I knew. So I said, okay, I think I can get all 10 if that happens. So that's it. I'm going to go in, and as soon as Kevin makes the mistake, it was a rip screen, right? A rip screen. I didn't even know what a rip screen was. I didn't. It's a back screen, right? I didn't know until the film session. So we're in a defensive drill, and I said, I'm doing this. Get your courage up. As soon as Kevin screws up, jump in. Because if you get Kevin, you got the whole team's respect. So all of a sudden, he makes a mistake, all right? And I kind of did a short step, like a kind of, I'm not sure, okay, and then Tibbs comes running out and starts correcting him on the same thing. So I just pretended like I just was going to do that and went back here, all right? So I said, okay, I still have 2 hours left in practice. He's got to screw it up again. Hour goes by, I'm good. Hour and a half goes by, I'm worrying a little bit, but I'm still good. I got 30 minutes. 25 minutes. No mistake. 20. 15. I'm sweating now. All right? With about 8 minutes left in practice, he screws up the rip screen. So I spring up and I jump out. And I said, because I said to myself, I got to prove to these guys I know what I'm talking about. Kevin, all right, the rip screen. We went over to the film session, and right there I drew a blank. I couldn't even have told him 2 of the 10 things Tibbs told him. So I'm panicking inside, not outside, because I got to prove to him I know my stuff. I said, Kevin, all right. Oh, first I'm running out. I said, Doc, hold up. Kev, rip screen. And this is just about the point I'm saying to myself, I don't know what to teach him, all right? So I said to him, so quickly, I'm from New Jersey, I'm fairly intelligent. I said, hey, look, rip screen. Tibbs went over every single thing in practice. Do you want me to go over all 10 of those teaching points again? Hoping like hell he said no. Because if he said yes, I don't know what I would have done. I figured it out on my way back. If that happens to me again, especially for young coaches, if they say yes, turn around and go, no, we got 8 minutes left in practice. I'm not wasting another second. You should know this by now. And I walked off. So sometimes probably the best thing I can tell you all day, you younger coaches, you got to fake it until you make it. And then when you get to your office that night, study your butt off. All right? 3 gaps you got to fill: the capability gap, the knowledge gap, and the teamness gap. Hey, we're coaches. We have staffs. We're on a team. We have a team. They're teams. I'm going to speed dial through this because there's no way I'm going to get through. 3 parts of team: teamwork, teammate, and team. Teamwork, teammate, and team. We talk to our team about this all the time. Teammate. To be a good one, you have to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice. Teamwork. For the team to work, for teamwork, everyone's got to be over themselves. Big Popovich term. You got to be over yourself and into the team. It can't be about you. And then team, I'm going to throw this at you for some people who like to give messages to their teams. There's a word, it's an African philosophy, an African way of life. The word is Ubuntu, U-B-U-N-T-U, Ubuntu. The year we won the championship in 2008, this was our mantra, Ubuntu. And its 2 basic tenets are this: I can only be all I can be if you are all you can be. That's number 1. I can only be all I can be if you are all you can be. The second tenet is people are people because of other people. People are people because of other people. Hey, Rondo, the reason you're good is because you have Kevin Garnett as a teammate. You have Paul Pierce as a teammate. Kevin, the reason you're good, you have Rondo as a teammate. All right, so that's the people are people because of other people. I can only be all I can be if you are all you can be. That means I got to help you be your best. The best teams in sports are jealous-free. Their culture is a jealous-free culture. The best corporations, when I speak to corporations, they're jealous-free corporations. They're not backstabbing corporations. I'm going to backtrack to knowledge. Just write this term down. As a coach, we feel you have to have the answers before they ask the questions. You have to have the answers before they ask the questions. Are you going to have them all? No. But that's why you want to get more knowledge. So when I talk about capability gap and I talk about knowledge gap, it seems I always get asked this question, well, that's always about the future. Don't you learn anything from the past? And we have what we call a 3-dimensional look at success. It should be a part of every team's program because this is how you win championships. And it goes like this. The 3 parts of it are this. You got to learn from the past, you got to produce in the present, and you have to prepare for the future. You've got to learn from the past. You can't live in the past. You out? Good to work with you. We didn't even do anything. He can play in the NBA with that attitude. No. All right? So you got to learn from the past, not live in the past. You had a great game yesterday? So what? There's one tomorrow. You got to produce in the present. Not wished for, not hoped for, right? You got to produce. And you got to prepare for the future. You know, we always tell our teams this. There's only 3 important days all year. And all championship teams only live in these 3 days. Only these 3 days. The only 3 days in the, well, I'll give you the 3 days, and the more I think about it, there's more than 3. All right, the 3 days that are really important are yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I'll tell you why. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Because this is being filmed, I'm going to add a 4th one, your anniversary. Actually, I'm going to add a 5th, your wife's birthday. Okay? But there's 3 really important days. All right? Those last 2, yeah, okay. So what's yesterday about? Evaluation and education. What did we learn? What did we evaluate? How can it take us forward to today? What's today about? Today is about execution. What's tomorrow about? That's about preparation. Which one? Yesterday, today, and tomorrow? Yesterday is about evaluation and education. All right? I'm going to talk about this word next because your players are going to use it some. Best. I want to be the best at this. I want to be the best at this. I'm going to be the best at this. Well, if they're going to be the best, they might be in trouble because it's hard to become the best at anything. Like you guys all think the NBA is a league of stars, right? No, it's not. It's a league of role players. The NBA is a league of role players. Who's the best player in the NBA? Just give me some names. Who? Kawhi? Who? LeBron? Damian Lillard? I'll give Damian, since he's young, I'll get him up there. Steph? There's a guy, his first name is Steph, his last name is Curry. If you don't know who he is, try guarding him for a game. You'll know who he is. All right? KD? Yep. Russell? Those are usually the 5. Right? Who? Yeah, those are usually the 5. There's 450 players in the NBA. So that means 445 have no chance of being in the discussion to be the best. That's how hard being the best is. We talk to our guys all the time about this. There's 2 bests. There's the best, and there's my best. Our league is filled with players who have figured out how to be their best. Kendrick Perkins, he would not make the team. What was the name of that basketball thing? What did I watch? Tag ball? Oh, netball. Netball. Okay, I just want you to see the last time I speak in this country. What's it called? Netball? Yeah, I knew that. I just want to see if they knew that. All right. Kendrick Perkins, who played for us, he's 6'11", at the end of his career, too much, but maybe 260, right? He couldn't play. The 2 tall ladies that I watched an hour and a half of practice tonight of the netball. I knew that. All right. Perk would get it here, and he'd miss it. All right? And he certainly can't run. Okay? Whoever's the slowest person in here, you can beat Perk. That's how slow he is. All right? But he understood who he was. Okay? And he knew he wasn't going to be the best. We just needed him to be his best. Here's 4 statements I'm going to give you about the best. Number 1, to be the best, you have to beat the best at their best. That's called competition. Hey, these guys, they compete when they go out on the floor and play against other teams. And if you keep score, you should try and win within the rules. Second statement about the best that we talk to our guys all the time about. To be the best, you have to bring your best every day. That's accountability. Third statement. To be the best, you have to learn the best from the best. Like all those guys I named early that I've had a chance to work with their coach, the Kobe's, the Kevin Durant's, the LeBrons, all those guys. It's amazing. They all want to know what the other guys do to be as good as they are. James Harden, prime example. The best games in the summer are in Los Angeles for pro players in our practice facility with the Clippers, or their practice facility now, right? And I remember one time we were in the breakfast area, and James was asking me, hey, how did Blake get as good as he is shooting-wise? Blake Griffin. He wanted to know what drills, right? A lot of guys joined our Olympic team because they wanted to figure out and find out what the other best players in our game are doing. And when they find out with Kobe, is his definition of 4:30 a.m. is different than a lot of players' definition in the NBA. Yeah. See, Kobe's definition of 4:30 a.m. is when you get up. The majority of the NBA's definition is when you get in. Big difference, right? So they saw Kobe at 4:30 getting into his car to go get his workout in, or going down to the basement of the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas to get his weight workout in. Kobe will tell you two things, two critical things that will define him. 4:30 is one of them, 4:30 a.m. He's even talked about that. That's what separates him, 4:30 a.m. The other one is the word until, U-N-T-I-L. He taught me this. He probably doesn't even remember it because it was such a small little event we were at. We were in Las Vegas, Nevada, and in the crowd there was like 25 really good high school players. And Nike had us come in and do some things on, improving. So Kobe was there. No, the other way. No, that's right. Kobe was there. I was here. TV was here. We're watching a high school game on TV. All of a sudden, I had the remote. Kobe said, hey, Kev, because in the NBA, they don't have to call you coach. Actually, they call you a lot of things in the NBA, but they can call you your first name, all right? So he said, hey, Kev, run that back. All right, run it. Run it back again. Run it. Run it back one more time. Run it. So finally, I thought, I'm a coach. I had my coaching antennas up. This is a learning experience for these guys in the crowd. I said, Kobe, why did you want me to do that? He said, that move that high school kid made, I don't have that in my game. I might be able to put that into my game. My first thought was, being from New Jersey, are you shitting me? You're a Hall of Famer and that's a high school kid? So that taught me, number one, you can learn from anybody. The best of the best, they want to learn from anybody. It doesn't matter who tells them. If it works and it helps them, they're in. Okay? So I said, okay, let's keep going with this because I think these guys can really learn. And that's our job as coaches, to keep teaching. So I said, okay, well, what would you do? And he said, well, I'd go, in my living room, if I was watching in my living room, which is, actually it's bigger than this whole complex, all right, his living room. And it overlooks the Pacific Ocean, all right? So obviously none of us have been in a room like that. So he said, I would be working on it there. I said, okay, well, how about the gym tomorrow? How many reps would you do? How many shots, all that sort. He said, first off, no shots. Why would I shoot? So I just kind of kept it silent. And he said, if I'm working on my footwork, why would I have a ball? When the ball comes into a drill, it's about make, miss. It's about nothing else. When a ball's in a drill, it's about make, miss. Especially when you do skill development, right? I needed to concentrate on my feet, not make, miss. My feet, not make, miss. I said, how long would you do it? He said, until. And it was every bit as awkward as it is right now for you guys. I thought there was a comma. No, there was an exclamation point, as I'm soon to find out. So being a really bright, intelligent person, I said, okay, I got a pretty good question. Until when? And if you know Kobe and he starts, well, you don't probably, so never mind about that statement. But if he starts rocking back on his heels and puts his chin to his shoulder, you might have one more question. And then he said, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm out, right? So I said, and he looked at me and said, until. I asked him a third time, until when? He had another word in front of until, but basically he said, blank, until. All right, and then I got it. I totally got it. It made total sense to me. That's why he is who he is. See, he keeps going until. Like these guys, if they want to get to where they want to go and fulfill all their dreams, they got to stay out and work on things until. Until when? Until they really improve that day. You'll have players of your own who get in shooting slumps, right? What do they do? Now, most players, when I ask that, they say, well, I go out and shoot thousands and thousands of shots. No, not like we had Ray Allen, one of the best shooters ever to play the game. Here's what he did. Now, he's the only player in the NBA who would answer it this way. I said, Ray, when you have a shooting slump, what do you do? He said, the first thing I do is check shot selection. Nobody. All the NBA guys just jack more shots up. Second thing I do is check my feet. My feet. The third thing I do is take shots. So I said, what do you mean your feet? He said, Kev, we're going to go out and do a drill. So he had me stand here. And I'm an NBA coach, like big doo-doo, right? NBA coach, shoot. All right? Ray was over there. He would fake down, cut to the top of the key. Now the problem is we had no ball. So I kind of went like, no, Kev, throw a game pass. You kidding me? Like, you mean wrists together, thumbs down? Yeah. Oh, God darn. So he fakes in, goes here, I do my part. Like this. He catches it, gets his feet right, jumps up, and shoots. No ball. No ball. All right? Then he goes back for a second repetition. Pops up, stops. I said, what's the matter, Ray? He said, man, you got a rebound. I said, hey, look, I'll throw you the pass, but I am not going in there and frickin' rebounding that ball. All right? I thought like NBA. Okay, then we're gonna. I'll tell you what. When they leave, we'll come back here at midnight, and we'll go till 4. I'm good. Hey, really? If some of you have to go, my wife has walked out on me many a time. Not literally, but in conversation. So if you have to go, go. Okay? Because actually, I feel like going too. No. All right. So we did a lot of winning with the Clippers. And I was telling this to Coach earlier today when we were driving around the city. And Doc taught me this. He said, you know, Kevin, there's a difference between winning and being the winner. Winning and being the winner. Like with the LA Clippers, over the last 3 or 4 seasons, we're in the top 3 winningest teams in the regular season. So we did a lot of winning. We were never the winner. So I took that to heart, and last summer, I really thought hard, and I read articles, and I tried to come up with why. Why do some teams become the winner? Why did I really studied our team in Boston. Beyond talent, because a lot of teams have talent. Hey, the worst teams in the NBA, they have players with talent. Now, we don't want players with talent. I'm telling you, Doc Rivers, Pop, he doesn't want players with talent. The championship teams do not want players with talent. They want talented players. Talent, talented. Talent, talented. What's the difference? The E and the D. And what that means to us is the championship teams, they have talented players. The ED stands for extra dimension. They bring something else beyond and above their talent. Because Sacramento, who was not a very good team this year, they had some talent. If you guys came out here and played them one-on-one, they'd kick the living, whatever is living inside of you, out of you, right? Even the crappy players are good in the NBA. They really are. They just look crappy because of the other players. So we wanted those players that had an extra dimension. So when we started to think what's the difference between winning and being the winner, and you start to think about it, all the teams that get to the Final Four, even the final 8 teams in the NBA, and certainly the 2 teams that will vie for the championship, they all have players who run fast. They all have players who jump high. They all have length. They all have athletic ability. They can shoot the ball pretty well. They can defend pretty well. On the floor stuff is the same. Here's the difference. And what I came up with was what I call the winner's compass. Figure out in your mind's eye a compass. It's got a north, a south, an east, and a west. What does a compass do? It keeps us on the same path. When we're going off path, it gets us back in the direction we need to go. It gives us direction. Here's what all of those letters stand for. The N stands for next, N-E-X-T. The great teams who win it all can get on to the next play. The great teams who win it all can throw the next pass because that guy's got a better shot than I do. The great teams who win it all can take the next slide and cut a guy off. Right? The best teams can take their game incrementally through the year to the next level. Next is really important. The S stands for simple. They win the war of details, the little things. The teams who wins it all, they win the war of the little things. You should do this with your teams. All right, in your mind, you thought the little things caused you to lose the game. Add up the points. I've done it before for even our Boston team. Sometimes it's 28 points worth of little things, but it happened on the second possession of the game, not important to a player. Happened on the 7th possession of the first quarter, not important to a player. But when you add them all up and it's 28 points of little things, then they start to get the picture. The E stands for every. For these young players, they've got to give everything they have, every second of every minute, of every quarter, of every half, of every game, and everyone has to do it every single night. That's how you separate yourself. And the W is willing, and this is what we talk to our players about all the time. The best players in the NBA are willing to be teachable and coachable. There's some that are not, but the overwhelming majority, all those guys I talked about, now they may put heavy demands on you as a coach, but they're willing to be coached. They want to be coached. They're willing to make one more pass. They're willing to take one more slide. They're willing to be a teammate. They're willing to help us have a teamness about our team. They're willing. All right? All right, as a coach, 4 things you must have if you want buy-in. If you want buy-in from your players, 4 things you must have. And let me talk about that word buy-in. We all use it. We all want to have it. But I don't know if we totally understand it. In order to get buy-in, I must first get believe in. I'm not going to buy into anyone I don't believe in. In order to get believe in, I've got to develop trust. I'm not going to believe in somebody if I don't trust them. And in order to trust them, I've got to be able to tell the truth. Now, someone get me back to this whole thing, whatever we're on. 4 must-haves. Let me talk about that word truth. All right, I'm in the process of writing a book right now. That's the other world I'm living in right now. And in essence, I haven't come up with a title, but it's why the best are the best at what they do. Best teams, best coaches, best players, best organizations, best companies. Why are the best the best? And the single most important and powerful word in success to a coach, to a team, to a player, to us in our jobs when we leave, when we go to work tomorrow, is this word, truth. Truth. We can't get to where we want to go. Like I always tell players, whether it be Kansas, Texas, Miami, whoever, all those ones I spoke to in the fall, I would tell them, if your coach isn't telling you the truth weekly, you got to go to him and say, hey, coach, you got to get on me. I need more truth. I don't care how you say it to me. I just need it. All right? And for these guys, I'll tell them, about the 3rd sentence out of Kevin Garnett's mouth the first time he met Doc Rivers was this: Doc, you have to tell me the truth. I don't care where you tell it to me. You can tell it to me in front of my teammates. You can call me out in the newspapers. You can call me out on TV. Doc, you can even call me out with 23,000 people, sold out Boston Garden, bring me out to half court, tell me the hard truth. I don't care. I just need it, and our team needs it for us to win a championship. And boom, we ended up winning the championship. Right? Truth needs 3 things. You need to be able to live it, you need to be able to tell it, and you need to be able to take it. Right? Live it. What's that mean? If one of these guys says, yeah, coach, I'm going to up my game this summer, and I'm going to really do this, 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 and this. And then when he gets to practice, first day of practice, and he's the same guy, if not worse than last year, he's not living his truth. You got to be able to live your truth. Number 2, you got to be able to tell it. Hey, look, there's some guys, like with Kevin Garnett, you can, like Kevin, on the floor, off the floor, he's Velcro. If all of you brought your children in here and you gave Kevin about 4 minutes with him, after a while, they wouldn't even want to see you, and wherever he walked, it would be like Velcro. They'd all be walking around. He'd be high-fiving and playing with them, but on the court, he knows. I know he was cussing me out sometimes. I just never heard those words. Like, there were some words he threw out. I just thought they were cuss words, the way it was, the venom coming out. All right? So you got to be able to tell the truth. Like with a DeAndre Jordan, you can't really, come at him all game. More pats on the back than kicks in the butt. J.J. Redick, he wants the truth. And he's ornery at times too. He'll tell you the truth back. And most times he's right. That's the part that sucks, because he's so smart and he's right a lot of the time. All right? Chris, in order to get him kind of back on whack, you got to tell him some hard truths. So you got to know who you're talking to. Some of it is soft truths, some of it's hard truths. And you got to be able to take it. Because the only way any of us in this room can get to where we want to go is if we're willing to take the truth. Otherwise, I'm not sure we'll ever get there. And then what do? We live in a world of frustration. And even worse than that, we live in a world of regret. As I look around, there's some older coaches in here. I know as I get older, I want to eliminate the regrets I have in my life. And I want that to be at 0 when I die. No regrets. No regrets. Okay? 4 must-haves. Number 1 is competence. If you want buy-in, you have to be competent. That's knowledge of the game. Improve your knowledge gap. Number 2 is trustworthiness. Can I trust you, coach? What you're telling me, can I trust it that it'll work? Number 3 is a work ethic. And I'm going to take it a step further. Can't get into this, we don't have time. There's a talk I give called the myths, M-Y-T-H-S, the myths of success, meaning things we have been told since we were young kids that if you do this, you'll guaranteed to be successful. Well, the terrain has changed. It used to be if you work hard, you can get to wherever you want to go. No. Hard work is the price of admission now. For those guys, hard work to make teams at the next level, the next level, the next level, that's a given, man. That's the price of admission to even come onto our floor, to even be able to practice with our team. If you don't work hard, you can't. I'm not even going to let you step on this nice floor. Why would I let a non-worker, someone who doesn't work hard, stain this floor? That don't make sense to me, right? So if you play for us and play in the NBA, which who knows, maybe one of you guys will be there one day. They're all going, nope. You never know. But if you want to come on an NBA floor, hard work's price of admission. What's the separator? The unrequired work. One more story, coach, and I'm going to give them their last 2 things. So picture this. One full court here, right? And the other full court is right where the bleachers are. So they're side by side. Boston Celtics, 2008, the year we won the championship. We had a rule because Kevin was getting old. Like in dog years, Kevin was 127 when we had him. All right? So we would let him go 5, 6, 7 possessions, and Doc would take him out of the drill. All right? So we're in the drill, in a shell drill. All right? So, we go through 4, 5, 6 possessions, and right when Doc blows the whistle, Kevin just happens to be denying on the wing in a great denial stance. Because the 2 previous games, he was horrible defensively, and that ate at him. That ate at him. All right? So what happens when a coach blows the whistle? Usually, all 10 guys will stand up and turn around and see what the coach is going to say. 9 guys stood up, turned around. Kevin stayed in his stance because he knew we were about to take him out. Doc's over here. Next to him was a kid by the name of Leon Poe. So Leon's standing right next to, here's Leon, here's Doc. He said, Leon, go get Kevin. Leon was a rookie. Rookies think they're, all this. So he gave the rookie walk. Shit. Kev, I got you, man. I can't really say what Kevin said, but Kevin was in a stance like this. He turned around and he said, no! And he got down lower. He actually said, some other stuff. All right? So Leon, the rookie, turns and looks like Doc. And I'm standing over there where I always stand in practice. I'm thinking, damn, this ain't going to go good. So I turn. Leon turns, and Doc goes, Leon, get him out. Leon's scared to death right now. All right? So he goes, Mr. Garnett? No. He said, Kev, man, Doc told me I got you. Kevin's now, he said, no! In the words that he said, now he's down this low. Finally, I look at Doc and I went, Doc, you got to go get him. So Doc walks over. We're on this court. Kev, we agreed to this, man. Come on. Had to grab him by the arm and take him to this court. So now, picture we're on that court. You with me? So Doc walked him over to the second court and deposited him right around here. Took a couple steps, checked to make sure he wasn't going to go back in the drill, right? And then walked back over. So now we're on the main floor doing the defensive stuff. So I would be standing, Kevin's over there, I would be standing like this, watching the drill going here. So we get back into the drill. All of a sudden behind me, I hear all these defensive terms coming out of somebody's mouth. Rip screen, rip, 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 2-9, 2-9, 2-9, get through, get through, get through. Help, 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 help. I say to myself, I ain't turning around because that's what he wants me to do, all right? So all of a sudden, the loudest I've ever heard this, and we always want as a coach to get our guys to do this, when the shot goes up, all of a sudden we hear, shot! Loud as could be. It actually scared the living crap out of me. I turn around, Kevin Garnett's in the air. No ball, no people within 12,000 miles of him. He's in the air, turns in the air with no ball, and yells outlet while he's in the air. There's no ball. Pretends he throws it to a pretend player over there, sprints the floor, and now on that end, he's doing all our offensive turns. Use me, use me, use me. Flare, 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 flare. Back up, elbow, elbow. So finally I thought, I better check because he may have lost it. So I walk over to him. I said, Kev, you all right? He said, I know what you're doing, man. I said, Kev, are you okay? I know what you're doing, man. You and Doc, I know what you're doing. I said, Kev, you know he had an agreement with you. We're going to take you out. I know what you're doing, but you don't know me. I said, okay, who are you? You don't know me. Who are you? Okay? So he said, I'm Kevin Garnett. You can't kick Kevin Garnett out of a drill. If you want Kevin Garnett out of the drill, you got to kick him out of the gym. And then he walked away from me like, I got you, right? So why do I tell you that story? You see, Kevin understood the great players, they do the unrequired work, not the hard work. He was doing the hard work on the first floor. Doc kicked him out of the drill. Not kicked him, we took him out. You know what most players in the NBA would do when they get taken out of a drill? Go up to their coach, Doc, and kiss him. Thank you so much, because I hate the defensive shell drill. Which, by the way, NBA teams, the good ones, do it every single day. Every single day. So when you guys get pissed at your coach for doing shell drill every single day, every single day. Like every. You, as my son would say, you whiff me, W-I-F-F, right? You get it? Yeah. So next time I hear that you're telling your coach that that drill sucks, no, it doesn't. All right? All right. So what did Kevin do? He did the unrequired work. That's what the best do. All right? And what else did he say? You can't kick the great players out of a drill. You got to kick them out of the gym to get them out. Not out of a drill. We'll find a way. No ball? He's a Hall of Famer. The fourth thing was sincerity. Players simply want to know, who are you in it for? Are you in it for yourself, or are you in it for them? I can tell you this, like at our level, if they find out you're just in it for yourself, they'll shut you out. You can still be on the staff, but they won't deal with you. So that's why it gets back to the first thing we talked about in the real coaching, the relationships. Letting them know, like we spell coaching, it's 2 4-letter words. Now the players may use another 4-letter word, but here's how we spell coaching. T-I-M-E and C-A-R-E. That's what we think coaching is. Spending time with our guys, and I know you guys aren't full-time coaches, but when you're there, a lot can be done in a 3-minute conversation, a 1-minute conversation. A lot can be done with a pat on the butt versus, like Coach was saying, ripping a guy's head off. All right, I'm going to end it with this. Sometimes people walk into your life and they say something to you that becomes an impactful statement for you for the rest of your life. And I'll give you a couple. The first one comes from Doc's father. He was a cop in Chicago. Rough part of Chicago. I mean, his dad saw everything. And when I asked Doc, what's probably the most important thing he ever told you, or the thing you always remember the most? And he said, that's easy, and here it is. He who angers you owns you. He who angers you owns you. Really important in our game. As a coach, you get on the referee. Well, as you're yelling for those 6 possessions, your mind isn't on the game. So you're a person on the sideline in a suit, but you're not a coach, and you're certainly not helping your team. All right? Players, same way. You know, there's times DeAndre Jordan gets on the referee so much that I know we have a tall 6'11" black guy who's athletic as all get out and can sprint up and down the floor, but the person out there now isn't on your team. That's not DeAndre Jordan that we signed, that we stole from. Well, Dallas stole him from us. We stole him back, right? Okay? And by the way, how do you coach your team? All right? I happen to use humor a lot because it just kind of breaks the ice. Speaking of DeAndre, his favorite player was Bill Russell. Bill wore number 6, right? If you look at DJ, what number does he wear? 6. He was practicing horribly. He was like, big head. The same hat that fit him last night didn't fit him today. So he had the ego kind of bursted a little bit. Wasn't playing well. Certainly wasn't going hard in practice. And I remember one time saying, hey, DJ, he got taken out of practice. Stay right there. You wouldn't believe this. What's that? I just got a text from Bill Russell. This is crazy. And I just put it in my pocket. Well, you know how kids are. What'd he say? What'd he say? Well, hey, and I'm pretending like I can't let Doc see me. Actually, he's talking about you. Kind of walked away. Right? So here he comes, right on my butt. What'd he say? What'd he say, man? I said, well, do you want me to read it? He said, yeah. He said, hey, tell DeAndre, I know he likes to wear number 6, but can you tell him to please turn that upside down? Because the 6 that I wore was a really good defender, hard-playing player, and really was a teammate. And right now, DeAndre Jordan isn't. So please tell DeAndre to turn his 6 and make it a 9. So I told him that, and I walked away. So now, picture this. Here's DeAndre. We're in an NBA practice. Doc's over there probably thinking, what the hell is going on? I could have gone on the floor and done, he'd have followed me. Did he really say that? Did he really say that? He got the point. He got the point. Like, you want to wear number 6? You want to wear Bill Russell's jersey? Are you shitting me, man? You want to wear that jersey? The way you're practicing today, the way you played the last 2 games, you can't. As a matter of fact, you don't even resemble a basketball player. You should turn that to 96 and be like a tackle on an NFL football team. Because number 6, And he said, Coach, I got you. I got you. I got you. Had a great next rest of practice. So how do you get to your people? How do you send those messages? It was a truthful message. So how do you tell it? Second one comes from Doc. If you're going after anything in life, you're trying to win a championship with your team, he always tells our team, and they're experiencing this right now with the Utah series, you've got to put your entire heart into it knowing that it might be broken. Hey, some of you are really in this coaching thing because you really want to be good at it. And you're going to lose some games. Your heart's going to be broken. I was in the NBA for 13 years. We won 1 title. 12 years, my heart was broken. That's why you put all those hours in. And you're away from your family. You invest your entire heart. Every fiber of your body is invested in trying to help the team and those players get better. That's why it's the best profession in the world, because you can take guys where they couldn't have gone without you. That's what coaching can do. You can take players places they could have never gotten without you. You can get them to believe in themselves because you believed in them first. That happens so much, even at our level. We believe in guys so much that they haven't even believed in themselves to that level yet, but we get them over the hump. Okay? The next one comes from maybe the most intelligent person that I know. Really, really like this guy. He's got silver hair like me, glasses like me. It actually is me, okay? No, it's what I told you in the beginning. Go through life with big eyes, big ears, and a small mouth. Right? You can write this down. This is what I mean by this. I already know what I know, and if all I know is what I know, I don't know enough, I need to know what you know. Go ahead, write that down. Right? Think about it. I already know what I know, and if all I know is what I know, I don't know enough. I really need to hear you guys, each of you guys get 20 minutes out here. I don't care if you're coaching 4-year-olds. You might say something that gets me to think, even expand on it, and I can use it with the Clippers. It's amazing how much knowledge there's out there. But don't think you own all the knowledge. Because you'll find in our league, you get humbled quick, man. You get humbled quick. All right? The next one comes from a guy that I never thought I would have an opportunity to meet. And he lives in Houston, Texas. You've probably seen him on TV, especially on Sundays. Well, the guy who introduced him to me was our equipment manager. Equipment manager. Equipment managers, like they wash the underwear. How would he know these people? Hey, man, you never know. So it was Thanksgiving. We were playing the Rockets in Houston, and we had Thanksgiving Day off in Houston. And he said, Kevin, come on, we're going to go over to a friend of mine's house. Well, I didn't know. So we pull up to the driveway. On the mailbox is the name Osteen, Joel Osteen, who's a preacher. Maybe some of you have seen him on TV. And when we were in there eating the Thanksgiving meal, he said something that kind of stuck with me. We actually traded things, some statements. But one of the ones that stuck with me, he said, you know what? In my church, and with all the people who work for me, and with all of your players and everyone in your organization, at some point, everyone's going to have a platform, and they have to be responsible with that platform. That's us tonight. We have the platform of being a coach for whatever age group you coach. That's your platform that day, that night, whatever it is. Got to be responsible with that platform. Like if I came in here and this was my talk, hey, Coach was right, man, I'm good. I'm like a good clinician, and I want to tell you a little bit about the NBA. It might be able to help you. Like, we have really nice uniforms, and I don't know how your guys are, but like we sweat sometimes, so we actually wash ours between practices. And then after practice, we actually we go into, like, we have showers. So we go in and we take a shower, and then we go home, watch a couple TV shows, come back, and then that's really the essence of NBA life, and that's what we do as coaches. If you have any questions, you'd be like, are you kidding me? This is the guy? So, so I prepare whatever, 200 bullet points. I get through 50 of them, all right? I need to prepare. And by the way, we need another hour because some of these things you need to know, all right? Preparation, key word in coaching. Let me give you the best definition of preparation. You can use it with your players, okay? And I don't give you this definition because it's mine. I believe it's the best definition I've heard so far. Here it is. Be there before you get there. Be there before you get there. That's the definition of preparation. These guys keep telling me, but I'm going to stop. Okay? Do you remember Ray Allen's shot against San Antonio where do you remember that shot he hit? Some of you remember it? Where was it from? What part of the court? Corner. How did he get there? Shit, you do know. Okay, because a lot of times people say, yeah, I know. Yeah, you know. And everyone in the summer would say to me, man, he's so lucky. I know Ray. Worked with him in Boston. He drills that. He actually has a drill where he starts in the lane, and I actually have a ball this time, so this is big-time drill. All right, so I smack the ball. He backpedals to somewhere behind the three. I throw it to him. I still ain't rebounded. We got rebounders for that in the NBA. All right? And with Ray, it's easy. If you want to rebound for Ray, just stand here. With Rondo, you're giving him a shooting workout? No. You're getting the workout. Shit, that ball goes everywhere. He misses. I mean, I'm serious, man. You are sweating at the end, and he doesn't even have a bead of sweat on his head. What's wrong, Coach? Take a look at your shot. That might be the start. No. No. So Ray's been there. He has a drill with that. He actually has a drill where he gets on the floor, does 3 or 4 push-ups, then jumps up and cuts somewhere on the floor. I throw him the ball. And the reason he does that drill is because he's always being held when he's trying to get open, right? People hold him and grab him. Like, come on, real quick. Dang. Nobody runs. Good. So now we're down here. You're Ray Allen. Actually, no, you're not. The more I think about it, no. You're Ray. So in a regular season game, it's not real physical. They're probably, guarding Ray like this. That's how he has to get open. Now, in the playoffs, in the finals, when we played the Lakers both times, Derek Fisher, do you remember how he guarded him? Right like this. No, I'm serious. No foul. Ray had to get open. So in order to get open like that, do you have to tense up and try and... Yeah. So the push-ups was his concept of, I got to be all tense to get open because it's physical. But then go ahead and cut out. But then when I catch the ball, it's got to be free-flowing, and it's got to be kind of a softer motion. So it went from this real tight, and then by the time he got out there, he was free again to shoot the ball. You see, I didn't give you the fourth statement. That's good. It really wasn't. No. Hey, Ray. No. Your name is your name Ray? If your name is Ray, I'll give you $1,000. Oh, Raymond. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Is it Ray? I said they're giving you $1,000. So Ray had already been there thousands of times before. Last one I'm going to give you is this, from Charlie Parker at Nike. Use it for life. Use it in your coaching. But they have certain mantras at Nike, and this is one of their big ones. At Nike, there is no finish line. So wherever we are in coaching, whatever we've accomplished, whatever knowledge we have acquired, Michael Jordan told me this, success doesn't stop once you get there. Success doesn't stop once you get there. It's one of the best things I heard from him in my dealings with him. And I didn't have a lot of dealings with him, but success doesn't stop once you get there. Okay? And then, Coach, this is the very last thing, but I didn't fly up here just to give you guys like 12 minutes. So sorry for keeping you so long, but I'll stay for as long as you want. But passion's critical in this sport. The players have to feel that you love what you're doing. But I'm going to tell you about passion in two ways. For the younger coaches in here, the passion has probably gotten you this position. And you have real high passion. But at some point, your knowledge has to catch up with your passion. That's when you really become good. Passion got me in the game. And really, the skill development, let me say one thing about skill development. It's not so much what you know, it's what you bring every day. It's not so much what you know, it's what you bring every day. I didn't know a whole lot about the NBA, but I brought an incredible amount of energy and passion to the skill development workouts. So therefore, they had that same intensity. Now, let me flip this passion and knowledge thing to us older folk in here. I see some gray hair. I see some that used to be gray, and you colored it, so I'm good with that too. But you see, for us, we have knowledge, but maybe we've leaked a little bit of passion, even at our jobs. We have the knowledge, but we all leak. Hey, look, I've leaked confidence some days. I've leaked energy some days. I've leaked enthusiasm some days. I just didn't have it the way I had it maybe the other 355 days of the year, however many there are. Right? So for us older people, our knowledge is here, but our passion's here. If you want to be in this profession, especially as an older person, we need your knowledge, but we've got to have your passion too, because that's when the magic happens for these kids. Even at the NBA level. The one thing they always say about Doc is they say he loves what he's doing. And imagine that if you were in a profession or a job that you hated to go to every day. And I have friends that are in that situation. Feel so bad for them. Like, I love going to work every day. I love having coach before my last name. And I don't care if it's the NBA. NBA is just a level I happened to get to. Coach is what I wanted to be. NBA just was the level I got to. Coach is what I really wanted to be. So look, you have an incredible job. There's some good organization going on to try and get that one heartbeat amongst all the coaches in this country. And I think that's a good thing. That doesn't mean you have to think to a T the way they think. But that's the base. And then you expand and put your own little twist on it. Okay? So I'm going to give you my email. And if you ever have a question, now, right, don't laugh when I give you my email. It's KEBC, as in Boston Celtics, BC, 24, now don't laugh, at AOL. Usually it's even more than that, at AOL.com. And for you people who laughed, I'm just going to tell you the reality of life. The hackers, they have no clue AOL is even around anymore. I have not been hacked in 17 years. So whatever that means to you guys over here. Hey, as Kobe Bryant would say, I'm out. All right, thank you.